Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video, and today I'll be talking to you about why you should stop using your AWS access keys in GitHub Actions and what's the best alternative. So using your access keys in GitHub Actions, it's a very common approach when you want to deploy your resources, your AWS resources on AWS. And it's not the most secure way. There is a different way to have this done, and it's much more secure. And this approach is OpenID Connect, or also known as OIDC. So I wrote this article on dev.to detailing this mechanism and approach and why OIDC is better than access keys in GitHub Actions, and also documented how you can have this done. So if you are using access keys in your project, I also this blog includes steps so you can migrate from access keys to OIDC. And I'm gonna walk you through this entire process together. So to start with, I wrote a small comparison on why OIDC is better than using access keys. One of them is long-lived credentials that never expire, which is the case for access keys. So because you are having the access keys stored directly as secrets in GitHub. Another one is if you want to rotate these access keys, it's going to be a little bit of a tedious process because you have to go to AWS, generate new access keys, add them in GitHub, test your project, and then revoke the old ones. And many other reasons. For OIDC, you won't have the access keys. You will just have role name. You'll be using an IAM role, and only you need the role name, which you can add in GitHub. And the token or that's generated or the access credentials are temporary. So they are not long-lived. They are just used for a short duration. So you don't have any credentials to rotate, and as you can see, and the credentials expire automatically. So you can just see now from this small comparison that OIDC is a clear winner, and it's definitely the better and most secure way to have it. So if you want to move or migrate your current setup from access keys to OIDC, this is the place to do it. And I made a small project where I will walk you through the process. So let's go over and do it. And we are back. So this is my VS Code. As you can see, I have my project and it's just a simple demo. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the serverless framework, and I'm simply, just for the sake of the demo, I'm deploying a Lambda function, which is just returning hello world from Lambda. But in reality, you can be deploying multiple services in ECS, maybe Amazon Recognition, EC2 or serverless. In this case, I'm also using serverless framework. You can be using CDK or any other framework. It's just about the credentials. And for the GitHub workflow, I have this deploy workflow that's very simple. And I'm here, as you can see, I'm injecting or reading my access keys. So AWS access key ID and also my AWS secret access key, which is the issue that I was talking about. And then I'm installing the dependencies, and then I'm deploying to AWS using this command. So this is what we're trying to fix here. And to show you on GitHub how this looks like, if I switch back, and this is my repo on GitHub, I'll go to settings, and then to my secrets and variables, I go to actions, and I scroll down. You can see here are the secrets. So AWS access key ID and also AWS secret access key, which we'll later remove and replace with OIDC. And this is if I want to go to actions, I can show you quickly also. This is my latest action that's using the access keys, and it's successfully deployed. And I also have this API. So if I refresh this page, I'll get back the message that I showed you earlier. So hello world from Lambda with the timestamp. Now our job is to move from access keys to OIDC. So I will go back to the article because it contains the content and the steps necessary. So first we have to add GitHub OIDC provider to AWS. And we can simply do that by navigating to the IAM console in AWS. We go to identity providers, add a new provider, select OpenID Connect, and we pass these two parameters. So let's do that. This is the console. I'm here in IAM service. I go to identity providers. I add a new provider. I shouldn't pick SAML. I pick OpenID Connect. For the provider, it's a static, which is this one. So I will just go ahead and copy it and paste it in provider URL. For the audience, I can just pick STS and I'll pass it here. I'll go next and and now it's created. So let me go back to the blog and move to the next step. Now we should create an IAM role with a trust policy. So let me go back to IAM and go to roles. I'll create a new role and it's web identity. Yep. And then I have to configure this role. So as you can see, I have to select from the identity provider this one. For the audience, I also select STS, Amazon, AWS, and then some other configs. So let's do them. I picked web identity. I pick my provider as GitHub, which we just created. For the audience, it's STS. For the GitHub organization, it should if you are using a GitHub organization, you can share your GitHub organization here or write it down. If you're using a personal account, you have to add your personal username. So I will use mine in this case, which is I add it as an example. I'll pass it here. And there is also like optional configuration. So you can also configure your GitHub repository if you want a more granular access, or you can also configure your branch. So maybe only give access to main or dev or live or whatever you want. In this case, I will make it more permissive. So I'll just have an asterisk, but you also have the granular control if this is something you want, which is definitely more secure as well. So I will go next. For the sake of the demo, I will give the role administrator access, but you should definitely give more granular control here. For example, only Lambda or only API gateway or only EC2, whatever what you are working with. For the sake of the demo, just administrator access would be fine. I need now to create the role, so let me go back and yeah, so we finished this step. Next step is adding the policies, which we also finished. So I need now to name and review. So this is an example role that I will go ahead and create. I will name the role. The description can be empty, I believe, and this is the policy that's created. We can add tags if we want to, but again, not needed, it's optional. And the role is created. And you can see it here. Now, if I go back, this is the policy. The next step is to update my GitHub repository to have this secret. So I will go back to my GitHub repository. I go to settings. I will go to secrets and variables. I scroll down to the repository secrets. I will add a new secret and the name will be AWS role ARN. The value is the actual role name. And this is the benefit, is that I'm just giving the role name and no permanent credentials. It's successfully added. I will keep the access keys for now, just to confirm that the flow is working, and then at the end I can clean them up. So next step now, we added the GitHub repository secret, as you can see. Oh, I need to add the ARN, sorry, my bad. So this should be the ARN. Let me go back and update it. So I will add here the ARN, and it needs my account ID, which I just updated. And this is good. Now my ARN is added. So moving to the next step, I need to update my workflow. So There are 2 or 3 things that I need to update. This is this flow before the access keys, and this is after the access keys. So you can see simply I need to add the permissions, which I will go to VS Code and I will add. So I'll move to the deployment workflow and I will simply add them here. Beside this, or it can be after the run ons, to be honest. Beside this, I also need to configure the action. So I'm using this action, and now we don't need the access keys. I'll replace them with the role. And here, instead of saying access keys, this is just a naming. I can say it's using OIDC. And these are the key changes. So we added the permissions block. We also replaced the credentials by adding the role to assume and updated the step name. And yeah, that should be it. I'll go ahead and push to main to see how this goes. I can generate the commit, which is why not, now it's faster, and I'll push. Now if I switch back, I'll go back to the actions. You can see the action is getting deployed, or it's running now and it's deploying my infrastructure. So I'm back now and the action, as you can see, is done and successfully deployed. And this is exactly what we want. Now we are deploying our infrastructure to AWS without using the access keys at all, and it passed successfully. So that's awesome. For now, what we can do is, for next step, is to clean up our existing credentials because they are no longer needed. And we are only using the role name. So I'll go back to settings. I'll go to secrets and secrets and variables, and then actions. And I can simply delete access key ID. It's no longer needed. And same for access key secret. So I'll just go ahead and delete it. And if I go here back to my API, I'll call it and it's giving me the result back. So I was able to deploy and I was able also to call my API without any issues, and both are working. So back to the article, as you can see here, we are stating in the important notes is to make sure to delete the secrets, which is what we just done, after verifying OIDC authentication is working. So all is good. We tested the API, it's returning correct correct response, and we delete the old unused access keys. So this is the complete workflow. If you need it for your reference, you can find it in this blog that I will share down in the description. And in case you had any issues, you can troubleshoot the issue, which most likely will be a permission issue. So in my case, I gave administrator access just to avoid any issues. But a better approach will be giving a granular access. So in case you didn't give your role the needed access, you might have insufficient permissions issue. And this is how you can troubleshoot it, by trying to add more access as you see fit. For the security best practice, you can use a specific condition on the role. So instead of giving access to your entire profile or organization, you can give access to a specific repositories, and you can also give access to a specific branch, which is also more secure. So these are best practices. For the permissions, I would really suggest you to apply the least privilege permission as mentioned earlier. So definitely not an administrator access, and only give access what you need to. And if you need access to the resources used, use some resources by GitHub and AWS. So make sure to check them out. Definitely really good content. I will share also the links down in the comment section or description of the video. If you're sticking with us till the end, thank you a lot for sticking with us. I'm really happy, and I'll be hopeful if you enjoyed this content and you found it helpful. If you do, make sure to like this video and comment down below if you migrated your code to OIDC. I'll be happy to hear your experience. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting videos more often, so I would really appreciate your support. Thanks again for watching, and stay awesome. Peace.
Hey.